Hello, this is More Immigration Solutions. My name is Ayo Yanga. Today, I will answer your questions in regards to requirements for a visitor visa. So I've had a lot of people send me an email, I'd like to come in as a visitor. But what I do realize is when you're telling me you're coming in as a visitor, a lot of you have the intention of not going back. We will talk about that. It's not a good idea. If that's your intention, I strongly advise you not to, because you're putting yourself in a situation whereby you can't work, you can't do anything, because the visa you're holding does not give you the permission to work while you are in Canada. So you're probably required to get, like I said earlier on in my video, you will need something called a social insurance number to work in Canada. And before you can get a social insurance number, there are procedures or other requirements that you will need. So as a visitor, you do not have those things to work in Canada. So back to my topic for today is requirement to come to Canada as a visitor or as a visitor, a visiting visa or a tourist visa. Just like most of you do know, and if you don't know, I'll tell you right now, you do not need to have a family member or a friend in Canada to come into Canada. So if you're curious and you want to know what Canada is like before you finally migrate, or you feel like you need to go for vacation and you're wondering where do you like to go to. Canada is a beautiful city, just don't come in winter. I'll tell you for sure, it's really cold. But it's a beautiful place, and if you need some advice on where to visit and where to go, we can always help you with that as the time comes. But today, let's talk about the requirements you need to come in as a visitor or as a tourist into Canada. First of all, I tell people, oh, I have been denied. Do I still get a chance? Yes. It doesn't really matter how long you've been denied. Just know why you're being denied and work towards the reason why you're being denied. You still have an opportunity to come to Canada even if you're being denied. Also, if you're coming in as a tourist visitor, as a tourist, you're coming in as a tourist into Canada. So for example, you've heard so much about Niagara Falls and you really want to go see what Niagara Falls is like, or you would like to go visit Niagara Falls. I have a lot of people, almost everybody knows where Toronto is. So Niagara Falls is also in Ontario, same as Toronto in Ontario as well. So it's a province. So for a tourist visa, you definitely need to be able to prove that you're coming back to your home country, or a visitor visa. The requirements are the same. So you need to prove to the visa office that, okay, I'm just going to Canada to go visit. I am coming back to my home country. So what are the things that you need? You need to prove that you have a tie. It's called a tie. So you need you have a tie to your home country. So when we are talking about the tie, so you must have a family member that depend on you. You must have assets, very tangible assets that can show proof that even if you go to Canada, you're not ready to lose all those things and you're coming back to Nigeria. Maybe a business, like I said, family member, sufficient evidence to show that yes, you're coming back to Canada, a job, a home, like I said, a family or a mother or somebody that really, really depends on you, that can confuse that you can use in confusing the officer saying yes, you're coming back to your home country. Another thing you have to do is you have to be able to prove to the officer that by the time your visa expires, you are going to leave Canada. So in some cases, they're looking at ties to Canada. So for example, if you have a family member in Canada and it's so strong and you don't have a strong tie in Nigeria, but you have a stronger tie in Canada. So for example, now you have a sister in Canada and you don't have any family, you're not married in Nigeria, or you don't have a job in Nigeria, and you're coming to visit your sister in Canada, it's going to be a bit challenging because now the officer looking at your application is saying, okay, he or she has a stronger tie in Canada but does not have a tie in their home country. So that might be a basis where you might be denied on. So when you're applying, put that into consideration that you need a stronger tie in your home country than the country you're visiting, which in this case, which is Canada. So if you're coming in as a tourist, one thing you have to bear in mind, you have to have money for your hotel, you have to have your feeding allowances. So those are the things that the officer looking at your visas are looking into, that okay, is this candidate or this applicant capable of taking care of him or herself when while in Canada. So for example, if you're coming to Toronto, for example, or Niagara Falls or somewhere wherever, for example, if your hotel accommodation is, let's say, $120 a night, so the officer, if you're staying 7 days, so the officer needs to see the full amount in your account, saying, okay, even if you haven't paid the hotel yet, but you need to make a reservation because they need to know where you're going to. So they need to see the amount of money, saying, okay, yes, this person is coming $120 a night. So you have the money for 7 nights in your account for sure. Or and if you're coming by yourself too, they need to know that you are capable of feeding yourself for the 7 days you'll be staying in Canada, or how long you're staying in Canada. And if you're coming with your family, the same thing applies. So you have to be able to prove that, okay, I'm coming in with my family, this is where we are staying in for so X amount of days in Canada, and this is so amount we need to feed each other while in Canada, and these are the plans we are make to go back to our home country. So back to my initial concern. Actually, yes, this is very amazing, and it's a bit disturbing, and I know a lot of people will not understand it. And I can proudly say I'm once an immigrant. I've been in your shoes. I've been out of status for a while in Canada. Trust me, it's not fun. So when I tell you, don't come in as a visitor with the intention of not going back, I mean every word of it. Don't. It's not fun. You're just roaming around the street illegal. You can't work, and even if you get they call it on the table job or whatever it is called, you're putting yourself at risk, because if your employer does not pay you, there's nothing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing. So you're just you can't report to anybody. You're illegal. You're not supposed to work. So why are you working in the first place? Even if you think you're trying to get your employer into trouble, yes, you might get your employer into trouble, but he or she's gonna get out of the trouble because he or she's it can as a paper to work in Canada or to have that business in Canada, or is a citizen or a permanent resident, but you have to still go back to your home country for nothing. And I have a lot of people say, oh, don't worry, just get me in as a visitor, I will claim refugee, blah 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 blah. Okay, fine. Think before you make any decision, for sure. I will tell you that. Look at other options. There is the express entry system pool. You can look into the federal skill program, and also you can actually look into the federal trade skill program. Actually, that's another thing. You don't have to be a skill worker to come into Canada. If you're good at hairdressing, if you're a good mechanic, there are a lot of trades that Canada is looking for. Look into that options. The only thing is you need a certificate for it. You need a certain years of experience for it. Try look for jobs too. If you can get a job in Canada, then you don't even need to show the proof of fund. You don't need that amount of money in your account because you already have a job in Canada. So that means you can actually sustain yourself when you come into Canada. There are a lot of options you can look into. The money you're bringing in to come in as a visitor, why don't you invest it in one member of the family? Let the person come in as a student, and after 2 years coming in as a student, and by the way, the person can work too as a student, and the person can actually bring his or her spouse in. While that person is studying in Canada, the person can work. The spouse is actually going to come in and have get a work permit and work as well. And after 2 years, you guys can apply under the program, the Canadian Experience Class program. Those are options there. There are a lot of options rather than coming in illegally and you're stranded. It's not fun. It is not something I will recommend. I will not suggest it. A lot of people have told me, oh, you don't know what you're doing. I have so friend came in through that program. It was successful. I won't do it. I won't. I've been there before without the status in Canada, and trust me, it is not fun. Yes. It's not I came in as a student, and my I ran out of study permits, and I was ignorant. I was a child at the time, and it's not something I would advise you to do. Don't go that route. If you're coming in as a visitor, come in as a visitor and leave, so that when next you're applying for something else to come back into Canada, you are granted visa. Otherwise, you have to start proving why you did not leave and you violated the visa conditions given to you. So like I had said, I've given you, and just let me explain something. A lot of people are worried. Oh, I've applied about 5 times. I've been denied Canadian visa. That's why you're giving the little paper reason why you're denied. Focus on that reason why you're denied. If you're being denied based on you don't have a travel history, which actually I have a lot of people being denied based on because they don't have a travel history. Yes, and it's possible. It's something you can always reapply, and in your letter of explanation, or if you have a representative, your representative can actually write in their letter of submission, given that you don't have the opportunity to travel, that's why you do not have a travel history, and you can actually channel that energy into something else, saying, okay, this is my tie to my home country, and I will come back without violating my visa. That's all. The only reason why you will not be admitted into Canada, there are three reasons why you won't be admitted into Canada. If it's based on criminal, if it's medical reasons, or it is non-compliant. So those are the three reasons you won't come to Canada. And I beg you, please, never lie on an application. Never, never, never. Otherwise, you get a ban. It's called misrepresentation. And you get a ban. You get banned for 5 years. And once you get banned, there's nothing anybody can do about it. You have to wait for the ban to be lifted. Or you have to apply. And by the way, if you cannot come into Canada based on inadmissibility, either on criminal for criminal reasons or whatever, there's something called rehabilitation. So if you have a criminal record, you can look into it, and you can actually, most times it's about 5 years or 10 years depending on the offense, and you can always apply for rehabilitation. And once you get that done, you can always apply back to come into Canada. Canada is a very, very liberal country. That's one amazing thing I will tell you about Canada. If you're not coming in to commit an offense, or you're coming in to commit a crime, I can tell you have a chance of surviving in Canada. So look before you leap. Think before you make your decision. Don't say, I have a friend that did it and I'm coming to do it. A lot of people tell you they have done it, but they're not telling you the truth. Think very well. Whoever is going to accommodate you, it's not as easy as it looks. Somebody that is willing to accommodate you for a week, is that person willing to accommodate you for a month? Because that person is paying for water that you're going to be using to take a shower. That person is paying for electricity that you probably be cooking from. That person is paying for so many bills or utilities that after a while, that person is going to get tired. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you are a burden on somebody. So think before you make your decision. We can always help you get a visiting visa. But if you're thinking of using a visiting visa to stay in Canada without going back, don't contact me. For sure, I'll tell you. If I do know that's your intention, I won't take up the file. So there are a lot of people that will take it up for you, but don't put yourself in a complex situation. There are better ways, more convenient ways to migrate to Canada. There are more relaxing ways where you're going to enjoy the benefit of Canada. Why do you want to come in as a visitor? Now, for example, what if you fall sick? Now you have to pay for medicals from your pocket, and it's not cheap. But anyways, that's all the time I have for today. If you're coming in as a visitor or a tourist, think before you make that decision. I've told you what the requirements are. You need to be able to prove to the visa officer that you are going back to your home country. You have tie to your home country. The tie you have in your home country is stronger than the tie you have in Canada, which you'll be visiting. You have enough money to sustain yourself, or whoever is sponsoring the trip has enough money to sustain or sponsor the trip for the duration of your period of your stay in Canada. Don't forget to like our Facebook page, More Immigration Solutions. More Immigration Solutions, our Instagram page, More Immigration Solutions. Follow us on Twitter as well. We always give you an update on what is going on, and I wish everybody luck today. At the end of today, you should know there should be a draw for the Express Entry. Also, we can always help you with the Express Entry profile too. So if you're thinking of migrating to Canada, or you visited Canada and you think Canada is a beautiful place you would like to stay or live permanently, contact us. We can give you an advice on what to do. And by the way, we are no longer responding to emails. We are no longer responding to consultation or through phone calls. November, we are starting with a fee with consultation. So you have to book an appointment. Go on our Facebook page. There'll be the website link there for you to book an appointment to talk to us, or to have a section with you. We'll do Skype with you, or we can do a phone section with you. Whatever is convenient with you, just have a booking with us, and somebody will definitely get back to you. Thank you, and we'll see you again next week, Wednesday. Have a great weekend coming up.